Welcome to our podcast about historical events.
My name is Emmett.
Hey, I'm Sharif.
Hey, how are you? So, I wanted to talk to you today about something called decolonization. What do you know about it?
So, what the definition of decolonization basically is that it's dismantling the facilities of the previously colonized nations.
Ah, I see. So, it's like reclaim the country from colonizers, basically, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Alright, honestly, the nation that comes to mind first when I think about decolonization is probably Vietnam for me.
Well, let's start off with how it was colonized to begin with. I think that's an important thing to note.
I agree. So basically, France was enduring a period of imperialist expansion, and it was in a geopolitical rivalry with Britain, as well as an endeavor to discover and use raw materials for their industrialization. So they sent troops and colonized Vietnam between 1858 and 1884. This colonization period lasted all the way up until the 1940s.
Oh, so you're talking about like the first French Indochina War in the 1940s, right?
Yeah, it was when the Viet Minh, which was the Communist and Nationalist Party in Vietnam at the time, fought against the small French forces stationed in Vietnam at the time, which was known as French Indochina. This war lasted from 1946 to 1954. Probably the most influential leader of this war and of the Vietnam independence movement as a whole was Ho Chi Minh, who was an extensively violent communist leader who wanted a free, socialist slash communist Vietnam.
Ho Chi Minh was an extremely charismatic leader and was able to get people to do things that they didn't necessarily always want to do. This ability with words and emotions all allowed him to become a very successful leader of the Viet Minh. Because of this, the revolution was pretty violent. It lasted 8 years, and the Viet Minh were really the only party attempted to take control of the country. They achieved independence on September 2nd, and they have actually maintained very good relations with France, having become close economic and military partners.
Yeah, I've seen some similarities between the Vietnam Revolution and the revolution in Nepal, which took place recently, where young students and adults, these protesters took over the country in a similar, I'd say, mostly violent way. I found it kind of interesting the parallels between the Vietnam and Nepal revolutions, especially considering their relative proximity in East Asia.
Another interesting thing about Vietnam is that directly after achieving their independence from France, they got into a massive war with the United States, which lasted much longer than the revolution.
Honestly, I think the Vietnam War was extensively worse for Vietnam than their previous war, especially considering that it happened right after their independence. I mean, imagine just gaining independence from one world power, which was France, to then fighting the strongest nation in the world just a couple years later.
I mean, it was catastrophic for Vietnam, but today it seems they're doing much better, though they're still communist nations, meaning many of their citizens live in relative poverty.
I think that from this independence movement and current day state of Vietnam, we can clearly see that the takeaway from this is that the price of independence from one nation is possibly suffering under the regime of another.
Thanks to Encyclopedia Britannica for this excellent insight into the Vietnam independence movement.